At 81, Gladys Knight finally tells the truth about Michael Jackson. Dionne Warwick was born Marie Dionne Warwick on December 12, 1940, in East Orange, New Jersey, into a family where gospel music wasn't just tradition, it was a way of life. Her mother, Lee Drinkard, was a founding member of the renowned Drinkard Singers, a gospel group that toured churches across America and laid the groundwork for what would become a dynasty of vocal excellence. Young Dionne grew up surrounded by harmonies, spirituals, and the kind of musical discipline that would later define her career. By her teenage years, Dionne was already performing alongside her mother and aunt in the gospel circuit, her voice carrying a sophistication and emotional maturity that belied her age. While studying music education at the Hart College of Music in Connecticut, she formed a trio called the Gospelaires with her sister Dee Dee and Aunt Cissy Houston. Yes, the very same Cissy who would later give birth to Whitney Houston. This connection would prove to be one of the most significant relationships of Dionne's life, both professionally and personally. In 1962, Dionne's life changed forever when she met songwriter Burt Bacharach during a recording session. What began as a chance encounter blossomed into one of the most successful collaborations in popular music history. Bacharach, along with lyricist Hal David, recognized something extraordinary in Dionne's voice, a crystalline clarity, impeccable phrasing, and to convey complex emotions with understated elegance. Together, they crafted a sound that was sophisticated, urbane, and utterly distinctive. Throughout the 1960s and into the 1970s, Dionne Warwick became a household name with an impressive string of chart-topping hits. Songs like Walk On By, I Say a Little Prayer, Do You Know the Way to San Jose, and I'll Never Fall in Love Again showcased not only her remarkable vocal instrument, but also her ability to interpret lyrics with intelligence and nuance. Unlike many of her contemporaries who relied on raw emotion and power, Dionne's approach was refined and controlled, making every word count. Her success continued into the 1980s with the massive hit That's What Friends Are For, recorded alongside Elton John, Stevie Wonder, and Gladys Knight to benefit AIDS research. The song became an anthem of compassion during a critical time in history and demonstrated Dionne's commitment to using her platform for social good. Over her six-decade career, she has sold over 100 million records worldwide, earned 6 Grammy Awards, and secured her place in the Grammy Hall of Fame. Beyond music, Dionne became a tireless humanitarian. She served as a United States Ambassador of Health and was deeply involved in raising awareness about AIDS and hunger relief. Her work with various charitable organizations reflected the values instilled in her from childhood: faith, service, and responsibility to community. Her dignity, poise, and unwavering professionalism made her not just a star, but an icon of grace. Now, at 78, Dionne Warwick is reflecting on one of the most important and painful relationships of her life: her connection to her niece, Whitney Houston. For years, Dionne has remained relatively private about the intimate details of Whitney's struggles, protecting her memory while carrying the weight of family grief. But recently, she's begun to open up about what she witnessed, what she tried to do, and the heartbreak of watching extraordinary talent consumed by darkness. "Whitney wasn't just my niece," Dionne began, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "She was like a daughter to me. I watched her grow from a little girl singing in the church choir to becoming one of the greatest voices the world has ever known. But I also watched her struggle with things that most people never saw." Dionne recalled the early days when Whitney was just a child, already displaying the vocal gifts she inherited from her mother Cissy. "Even as a little girl, she had this instrument that was just breathtaking," Dionne remembered. Cissy would bring her to recording sessions, and Whitney would sit there, wide-eyed, absorbing everything. She was quiet, observant, and when she opened her mouth to sing, everyone in the room would stop what they were doing. As Whitney's career skyrocketed in the 1980s, Dionne watched with pride and growing concern. "The industry can be brutal, especially for young black women," she explained. Whitney had to be perfect all the time. People expected her to be flawless. Her voice, her appearance, her behavior. That kind of pressure is crushing. I tried to warn her, to prepare her. But how do you really prepare someone for that level of scrutiny? Dion spoke candidly about the changes she noticed in Whitney as fame intensified. She started to lose herself, Dion said quietly. The girl I knew, the one who laughed easily and loved simple things, began to disappear behind this image of Whitney Houston, the superstar. She couldn't go anywhere without being mobbed. She couldn't have normal relationships. Everything was complicated by who she was. When addressing Whitney's struggles with substance abuse, Dion's tone became both compassionate and pained. People want to judge, but they don't understand addiction. It's a disease, not a moral failing. Whitney was trying to cope with pain that went deeper than anyone realized. There were things she carried, burdens from her past, from relationships, from the constant demand to be perfect. She self-medicated because she didn't know another way to find peace. Dion revealed that she tried multiple times to intervene. I had hard conversations with her. I told her she was destroying herself, that she needed help. Sometimes she'd listen, sometimes she'd get angry with me. She'd say, "Auntie D, I'm fine. I've got this." But I could see she didn't have it. I could see her slipping away, and it was terrifying. One of the most painful aspects for Dion was watching the public's treatment of Whitney during her lowest moments. They made jokes about her. They mocked her. They acted like her suffering was entertainment. That infuriated me. This was a human being, a woman who'd given the world so much beauty. And when she needed compassion, many people turned their backs or worse. They pointed and laughed. Dion also addressed Whitney's tumultuous marriage to Bobby Brown, a relationship that has been widely blamed for Whitney's downward spiral. Bobby loved Whitney. I believe that. But they brought out the worst in each other. Two people struggling with their own demons can't save each other. I wish Whitney had walked away sooner, but love is complicated, especially when you're both trying to survive your own battles. Despite the struggles, Dion emphasized Whitney's incredible artistry and the joy she brought to millions. When Whitney sang, she didn't just hit notes, she touched souls. Songs like "I Will Always Love You," "Greatest Love of All," and "I Want to Dance with Somebody" became the soundtracks of people's lives. Her voice was a gift from God, pure and simple. Even now, years after her death, her music still moves people to tears. The day Whitney died in February 2012 remains etched in Dion's memory. I was devastated but not surprised. I'd been afraid of that call for years. When it finally came, it felt like losing a piece of myself. I kept thinking about all the conversations we'd had, all the times I tried to pull her back from the edge. I wondered if I could have done more, said more, been more persistent. In the years since Whitney's passing, Dion has become a protector of her legacy. I won't let people reduce Whitney to her struggles. Yes, she had problems, but she was so much more than that. She was kind, generous, funny, and deeply spiritual. She loved her daughter Bobby Christina more than anything in this world. She deserves to be remembered for the light she gave us, not just the darkness she fought. Dion's voice grew firmer as she continued. The industry failed Whitney. We all did in some ways. We celebrated her when she was on top, but we didn't do enough to protect her when she was vulnerable. That's something I'll carry with me forever. Now, Dion channels her grief into advocacy, speaking openly about addiction and mental health in the entertainment industry. If sharing Whitney's story can help one person seek help, can help one family intervene before it's too late, then maybe her suffering wasn't in vain. We have to do better. We have to stop treating artists like commodities and start treating them like human beings. As she reflected on their final conversations, Dion's composure finally wavered. The last time I spoke to Whitney, I told her I loved her. I always made sure to tell her that. I said Nippy, using Whitney's family nickname. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. I hope she believed me. I hope wherever she is now, She finally has the peace she couldn't find here. Dionne Warwick's revelations about Whitney Houston aren't about sensationalism or settling scores. They're about love, loss, and the complicated reality of watching someone you cherish battle demons too powerful to overcome. In her honesty, Dionne honors Whitney's memory while reminding us all of our collective responsibility to protect those who give us so much of themselves through their art. Retried.